This is what nature considers to be the best meal for the baby. So look at how much fluoride is in this meal. And the answer is it's incredibly low. It can be as low as 0.004 parts per million. Or to put it another way, if you are bottle feeding a baby in a fluoridated community, you're giving that baby 250 times more fluoride than nature intended. And, or if you like, as a breastfed baby, 250 times more. And when I saw that, I said, this is ridiculous. Don't tell me that the American Dental Association knows more about baby's first meal than evolution. This is ridiculous. Now, obviously, the baby doesn't need fluoride. Otherwise, you're saying that nature screwed up here. The baby doesn't need fluoride. And indeed, they've never done a study to demonstrate that fluoride is an essential nutrient. To do that, you've got to starve an animal of fluoride in its diet and show that a disease has developed. They've never done that. There's no disease associated with a lack of fluoride. And you can have perfectly good teeth without fluoride. There's not one single process, biochemical process in the body which requires fluoride in any way, shape, or form. So we are on a hiding to nothing. It's not used by the body, and yet we now know it causes harm. And they know it causes harm because, as you probably are aware, on January the 7th, the Center of Disease Control and the EPA admitted that our babies and our children are getting far too much fluoride. In fact, the number is staggering. 41% of children aged 12 to 15. And incidentally, this is an average between children in fluoridated communities and non-fluoridated communities. So the figures are worse for children in fluoridated communities. But right now, for American children, 41% aged 12 to 15 have dental fluorosis, which is an indicator of overexposure to fluoride. It's well known. Of course, they dismiss dental fluorosis as just simply a cosmetic effect, but that's public relations hype. What it means is the baby has been overexposed to fluoride, and the worst year for this exposure is the first year of life. And that's why the American Dental Association advised its members, its dentists, but not the public, that babies shouldn't get fluoridated tap water in bottle. If you're making up baby formula, you shouldn't use fluoridated tap water. But parents are not being warned about that. But of course, I am far more concerned about what the fluoride is doing other tissues in the body, including the brain and the bones, than simply this visible effect, this discoloration and mottling of the enamel called dental fluorosis.
I want to talk about what it does in the body, but I want to clarify a few things about a few agencies so we're clear the mandate or what these agencies are supposed to be doing. First, I want to make sure that I'm correct when I say that the EPA has offices of drinking water where it approves contaminants. Is that correct?
That's right, yes. The EPA deals with contaminants or pollutants in the drinking water. Their task is to deal with safe levels of arsenic, safe levels of lead, safe levels of fluoride, safe levels of any toxic substance that might get into the drinking water. They have no brief on additives. So things which are added to the water, like chlorine or fluoride or what have you, they don't regulate the addition. They only set up what they consider to be a safe drinking water standard. And that's when the politics comes in, because if today they were to determine by their normal methods a safe level for fluoride, it would be lower.
What do you think it would be, Paul?
The 1 part per million used in fluoridation. So you could not, on a scientific level, justify a safe level goal, and there's a difference between a goal and the enforceable standard. You couldn't justify a safe MCLG, maximum contaminant level goal, greater than 0.1 parts per million if you use the normal procedures that the EPA uses on any other pollutant. But they won't do that, and they announced they won't do that on January the 7th because they want to protect, they say, the children's teeth, or rather, they want to protect the water fluoridation program.
What is the water fluoridation program?
Well, that is the deliberate addition of fluoride to the drinking water at a level of 1 milligram per liter or thereabouts. It ranges from 0.7 to 1.2 to the drinking water, ostensibly to fight tooth decay. And people would be shocked, I think, to find out that the chemicals they're using for this purpose, the fluoride chemicals, are not pharmaceutical grade, as appears in toothpaste.
What are they? Can you name them?
Yeah, it's a hazardous waste from the phosphate fertilizer industry. It's either hexafluorosilicic acid or it's sodium salt. And this stuff comes from the scrubbing liquor, the wet scrubbers of the phosphate fertilizer industry. And the aim of these wet scrubbers is to remove two very toxic gases, hydrogen fluoride and silicon tetrafluoride, which otherwise would decimate the local environment, cripple cattle. They have to capture these. And the resulting scrubbing liquor, after the water has captured these two toxic gases, is called hexafluorosilicic acid. It also contains a lot of other impurities, toxic metals, even traces of radioactive isotopes, because the same phosphate rock is mined for uranium. Now, they can't dump this stuff into the sea. The scrubbing liquor can't be dumped into the sea. It can't be dumped locally because it's too concentrated. Now, there have been many incidents in Florida where it has got into the environment and caused havoc. But one of the vagaries of hazardous waste regulations in the United States is if an industry produces a hazardous waste and someone buys it from them, they got to buy it. If they buy it from them, it becomes a product. And that's what's happened. This lunacy here is that the public water supply buys this stuff from the phosphate fertilizer industry and puts it in the water. So to add a bizarre level to a bizarre level, not only do we have this ridiculous practice of using the public water supply to deliver medicine in this incredibly clumsy fashion, inviting overexposure, but we're also using the public water supply as a vehicle to get rid of hazardous waste. As I say, utter lunacy.
How is this not obviously criminal?
Well, I guess because it's shrouded in good intentions, and it's promoted by people in lovely white coats. If you go back to the 30s, you had advertisements saying 23,000 dentists advised to smoke Viceroy. And not to be outdone, we had about 20,000 doctors who advised to smoke Camel cigarettes. So there's a long history of getting people in white coats to endorse things and to make the product lily white and clean. And so this is the way, essentially, in the hands of the public relations maestro of all time, Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who became the father of public relations and the father of propaganda. One of his great claims to fame is that he promoted fluoridation and changed the image of fluoride from one of the nastiest air pollutants. An air pollutant had done more damage to agriculture in the 1930s than any other pollutant. A pollutant that was generating more lawsuits than any other air pollutant in the 40s and 50s. And somehow the whole image of this nasty pollutant has changed from that, threatening lives and threatening cattle and threatening the environment, to a substance that we now put in the drinking water and put into our toothpaste. It was a brilliant maneuver, and it's all documented in a wonderful book by Chris Bryson. And if people don't have time to read the book, they can see a 28-minute interview I have with Chris. It's available online on our website, fluoridealert.org. Go down, you'll find that interview with Chris Bryson. And basically, he demonstrates a collusion between the U.S. Public Health Service and the Fluorine Lawyers Association. And the Fluorine Lawyers Association was obviously lawyers who were set up to help companies like Alcoa and the phosphate fertilizer industry, the steel industry, the ceramics and bricks, oil industry. Many industries produce fluoride as a pollutant. And many industries were faced with lawsuits. And these lawyers were there to defend their clients. And obviously they had to promote the idea that fluoride was perfectly safe and was not causing the health problems seen in workers in the industry.